Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just quick update on a few pairs of gloves I have. A few months ago, if you saw, I had a video of all the gloves I'd worn throughout the season. Just got a few new additions and a few gloves that hadn't actually been worn at the time. Just going to give you a quick overview of them. You probably know the story at this stage if you've been to the channel before. If not, check out a few of the other videos. Anyway, let's get into it. The first pair of gloves I have are a pair of Seismics. Excellent gloves, Irish brand. For full disclosure, I actually got these for free, sent to me off the owner, Steve. It was to test out another product, not a glove. I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to say what it is, so I probably won't. But he did give these to me for free. But excellent gloves. Really liked most things about them. I've wore them an awful lot now, and I just wore them a couple of days ago on dry ground and haven't given them a wash, so they do look a bit dry there. But excellent performance out of the gloves. Really like the look of them. They're quite different for kind of a smaller brand. You know, they don't really hold back on design, Seismic, and fairness. You know, which is something I like. You know, Steve is one of the good guys kind of in the industry. You can tell that he really puts a lot of effort into his gloves. You know, there's a lot of rip-off artists out there at the minute, so I do kind of like to support the ones who aren't, I suppose, who are looking to push the boundaries a small bit. But saying that, there is a couple of things about the glove that I did and didn't like. You know, if you've seen before, I do kind of have a lot of issues with straps on gloves, and these are kind of no different. Tries to kind of rectify it for everyone in the fact that the straps are actually removable. Sorry, now one sec, one-handed stuff isn't the best as usual, but you can remove the strap here, and when you purchase the glove, it comes with this strap and a plain latex strap. I normally would always go for the plain latex strap. Just didn't really like the fit of it when it came on. I found it was too wide. It was almost as wide as the bottom of the glove here and the thread up here. And I just found it actually was kind of clunking up my wrist a small bit and didn't sit right. It is a good idea, and it is an attempt to be different, which is a thing to be commended for, but I just didn't really find it worked. I kind of think you should just stick to one or the other. Didn't really like the idea of having a zip on the glove down here, but I kind of settled on this kind of strap here, and it was fine. Like, I didn't really notice it. I just found it was a small bit too bulky. You know, that's a lot of kind of real estate there to have in a glove. I think, you know, I'd prefer it was a bit more streamlined, but again, some people probably loved it. I just think if I was making my own glove again, I would just take away the zip, even though it does give people the option if you are unsure. And there's plenty of professional goalkeepers in the League of Ireland who've worn this glove for the season, and they obviously have no problem with it, so I wouldn't necessarily say that should turn you off the glove. And then probably the most important part is the latex, and I couldn't really fault it, to be fair. It's excellent in the wet. Obviously most gloves are excellent in the dried, and as you'd expect, but I really liked it. You know, I probably wore this in 7 or 8 games. Really liked them. The backhand then is, I suppose, is a bit like Marmite. You probably either love it or hate it. You know, same with most of the Seismic gloves. I've had maybe 6 or 7 pairs over the years. I really like it. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on why it is, or why I would like it or why I don't. But it's just a bit different than all other kind of smaller brands. Given the price of it, it's nice to have kind of a different taste to them. You know, it's not just a plain generic glove made from a factory. So that's something that Seismic have to be commended for. They are bringing out a new range, all right. You know, again, they're out there and they have a few more things like the heated gloves. So they're definitely trying different things, which is good to see. But any glove I've ever had off Seismic has definitely performed. It's an AGT PAM latex. So again, I'm not really too sure like what to equate it to. AGT doesn't really mean much to me, like say a contact foam would or something, but they performed whenever I needed to. I have no worries about wearing them. Quite a thick latex glove is the only thing. If you're kind of like a more lightweight glove, these probably aren't the ones for you, but they're definitely kind of more traditional. But fit is excellent on them. Again, I'm size 9, perfect, wouldn't change. So yeah, if they're probably on sale. I think I saw something on Twitter the other day about these being on sale. I think they're €35, so about £30 odd. So yeah, they're definitely worth a go if you've never tried them. You know, I trust them, no bother. I'd wear them again and again, no problem. So yeah, Seismics again. The second pair of gloves I have are a pair of Peaks. These are my first ever pair of these gloves. If you watched my last video, I received these and actually hadn't worn them, so I didn't really give much of a an input onto them, but when I received them, I think it was one of the gloves, one of the middle fingers had like a big black scuff mark on it. I think it could have been this one, I actually can't remember. And when I received it, it had that kind of a mark. If you see the video, you'll be able to look at it straight away. And you know, it kind of just put me off of them a small bit, but the owner, Scott, actually, he actually texted me, didn't even email me or anything. Obviously got my details from my order, and, you know, apologised, said he was going to send me a pair of gloves as a replacement. Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. Probably won't, but I don't really mind. At least he had the thought to reach out to me and apologise, even though it made absolutely no difference to the gloves. You know, I hadn't even pre-washed them at the time of the last video, so it just came off straight away. When I got these gloves, I was a little bit disappointed by the sizing on them. They run quite large, you know. I'd be a 9, and I would have to drop to an 8 in these. I don't even think an 8.5 would maybe do me. But he told me that they use kind of a European kind of sizing. The only knock I would have on the gloves and even the company is, like, if they use that sizing, I've literally just been on the website there. Like, I didn't see anything about that on the website. You know, if you use kind of a different sizing method, why not tell your customers that the gloves would fit differently? If that happened, I would have been totally happy with these gloves, because the performance is actually excellent. Scott seems like an absolute gent, you know. Everything he was telling me, great guy, had a good conversation with him. You know, I would definitely buy another pair of Peaks. That wouldn't put me off them again. The actual gloves themselves are absolute quality. They're fairly knackered now. There's nothing really left on the palms, unfortunately. But really like the gloves. The thing that kind of struck out to me the most was the colour of them. I've kind of always wanted a pair of VG3s and night gloves in this kind of a green colourway over the years. They never really seemed to bring one out. I like this kind of a look, the wrap over fingers on the gloves. So straight away there's kind of something like, yeah, I definitely want these. And the kind of colour contrast, the two different greens, I think is very nice. Everything about them was good, except for I would wrap over this thumb. I've said that on a lot of gloves now, and they do it on some of their other models. I think it's the Focus, the yellow one with kind of a quartzite palm does it, and if they had that on this glove, I think it would make a big difference. But the latex then took a little while to get going. I wouldn't be buying this as a glove you would wear straight out of the packet, but once I gave it a pre-wash, maybe wore it once, it was absolutely brilliant. So I do kind of, like I said, like supporting the good guys kind of in the industry, you know, and Scott seems like one of those, to be fair. So if you are looking for a pair of gloves, I'd recommend these two. Big thing I like about them is the hybrid kind of a palm on them here. I actually like flat palm gloves, but I have a pair of Reich gloves here. Sorry, give me one sec. A pair of Reich gloves here. You know, I don't really like this on a mesh material on the outside fingers, your pinky and index finger, because I find there's just a lot of twisting on them. This kind of solves this a small bit, and while giving the negative cut in the middle. But the gloves are excellent themselves, you know. I plan on buying another pair. I'm not too sure which ones. Maybe if there's a sale, I'll probably pick up another pair, no doubt. I got these in the last sale. They're definitely worth the money. So if you're interested in them, I would just go a full size down, and they're absolutely smashing gloves. So next up I have then is a pair of New Balances. I've had a few of these, a few different colours. I think I've had all the colours of them actually that they brought out in the Casper Schmeichel range. Excellent gloves. They've definitely been my favourite ones of the season. I absolutely love a graphite palm. First time I've ever had a graphite latex, I think, and it's been absolutely outstanding. I wear these to death. I get so much wear out of them, but they're amazing in the wet. That's the only way I can really put it. A lot of brands tend to use quartzite instead of graphite. There isn't that much of a difference, but graphite is definitely significantly better in my opinion. Maybe it's in price. I know they look the same, but I find that graphite performs an awful lot better. When you wear them initially, they're pretty much the exact same, but I found graphite just reacts better in the wet. It holds its consistency, whereas when quartzite gets wet, I find that it loses its adhesiveness a little bit quicker. But these gloves definitely aren't for everyone. I didn't even think they would be for me, to be honest. When I got the first pair of them, I just bought them to try, but I didn't think I'd like this material on them. You know, it looks a bit cheap, but I absolutely love it. It gives such a good fit on the fingers. The only thing is the wrist strap is a tiny little bit too short. It looks fine there now just because of the way the glove is closed, and obviously my hand isn't in it, but it finishes maybe about here when you're wearing it with your wrist in it. Like, I have fairly generic size hands now, and it does come up a little bit too short. Like, if your keeper tapes your wrists, I think it will come up even shorter again, so that could be a potential problem. But other than that, the performance has been absolutely amazing. I did try on a flap version of these, kind of more retail one. I didn't really like it. I'd probably only really wear this glove. I hope they keep making it, even though Kasper Schmeichel has now moved to Adidas. You know, I'm planning on sticking in this glove for a long time, so I hope they keep it going. But yeah, excellent glove. And they kind of had a break in making those New Balances, so I sampled a pair of these. I literally just wore them last night now, so they are in kind of bad condition, but they're quartzite latex. I wanted to kind of compare and contrast to the New Balances. A pair of Precisions, they're about £50, I think. I've always said this in a couple of reviews. If you watch all my videos, every time I say about a Precision glove, good gloves, terrible straps. No different here. Like, this strap doesn't look like it belongs to the glove again. Like, you know, it looks like, you know, I always say they look like Sports Direct kind of or latex straps, and no different here. It looks just cheap in comparison to the rest of the glove. It's kind of a mesh body on it with like latex over it. I'm not too sure how to describe it, but it's very nice. It's an excellent fit off them, and they have like a rubberized punching zone here. I actually really like it. Again, no real complaints about the glove other than the strap. Size 9 again fit me perfectly, but if I was to pick between quartzite and graphite, which is kind of the reason I bought them, because quartzite gloves are a lot more readily available, I would still stick with graphite every day of the week, even though absolutely nothing wrong with these. They perform very well. They do have to be kept pretty damp, but I just still think graphite is better. I kind of wish more companies would look into using it, which they might do, hopefully. But yeah, the glove itself, excellent. No real complaints with it. You know, it's a very good fit on it, except for just start changing your straps. Give them more, like, you'd see like the professional endorsees like Kieran Westwood when he was with Precision. I know he's after moving to Samba now, but they always change the straps on their gloves. You know, I don't see why, if your pros are doing it and you're displaying them, why you wouldn't put it on the retail models. But yeah, that's those. Good gloves, in fairness, well worth a try. And the next pair of gloves I have, I suppose I have two pairs of them, are the new Adidas range, the Predator range. Quite impressed by them, to be honest. When I heard about these gloves, the rumours about like a woven glove, I was kind of like, how is that going to work? You know, I was skeptical to say the least about them, but been pretty impressed by them, to be fair. You know, the fit is good. I actually bought these over in Paris in an Adidas outlet, and they're size 8, and they're actually just too small for me. I saw a YouTube review. At the time I wasn't able to try them on in the store. They had security tags on them, and they were only €14. So I was like, oh, I'll just take a punt on them, see how they go. But they're just a bit too small. The pinky finger is quite small, to be fair. You know, you can see that now. There's not much to it there really, but yeah, it just lets me down there. The rest of the glove is actually okay. It's a little bit narrow for my hand in the 8, but I actually got these today in a 9. Plastic still even on them, but I know they're going to perform obviously from wearing these, and the fit is excellent. One thing I will say about what you expect out of a brand is like incremental improvements, and over the years I think Adidas have always done that in their gloves. The straps in particular, like, I actually don't mind the straps. I'm normally not a fan of stretch ones, but this is the last Adidas glove I had. I never had any of the older range, and that strap is quite bulky, to be honest, for me when I was wearing this glove, and this one isn't, you know. So that's something I like to see when I'm purchasing a glove, that is continuously improving, which is excellent. And another thing, Adidas gives you a lot of options with colours, you know, to mix and match. But yeah, really like this glove. I actually have the white and red version of it too, and the Manuel Neuer black and white version. Got them all pretty cheap, so I couldn't turn them down. And the latex on them is good, but if you're the kind of keeper who doesn't like buying a lot of gloves, it's probably not the one for you. It doesn't give you the most longevity I've ever seen out of a latex, which is kind of a knock, I suppose, but I don't really mind spending money on gloves, you know, I enjoy getting them. So if I only get 4 or 5 games out of it, love, I'm kind of okay with it, you know. So I will probably purchase more of them. I do like the latex, particularly in the dry, and they're not as flimsy as I thought they would be. Again, I was talking about incremental improvements. This I think these were called Predators too at the time, but they were quite flimsy. You know, they had a lot of issues with like the zones here falling off and popping. That one, it has actually popped there somewhere. You know, a lot of the thumbs here tended to come away, and people had a lot of issues with them. But this one doesn't seem to have as many. Obviously, I haven't worn them enough to comment on that so far, but from what I've heard, that they are definitely a lot better than they previously have been. So that's good. They do feel a bit more solid too. You know, when you're making a fist, I felt like my hand was a bit exposed in these ones here. I don't get that feeling really in the new range, which is good. I might kind of move into these maybe for next season if I move away from New Balances. I'll see. But yeah, largely impressed with them. If you can pick up a good deal, gloves are kind of overpriced in general at the minute, but they are probably worth it, to be fair. And then last pair of gloves, I have these F-lines. Remake of the old Roosh glove, Peter Schmeichel glove. I absolutely love them. Everything about them. They're quality gloves. The backhand is the perfect material for me. I don't know why brands don't use this material more, kind of a smooth latex backhand. I've had a lot of SMUs from different gloves and different professional keepers, and you'd be surprised how many keepers like get the gimmicks from other brands taken out of their gloves. I have a pair of Ralph Fairman gloves from Schalke, and it's not the exact same as this, but he uses this material. And you think of the price of Roosh gloves at the minute, and one of their top endorsees isn't using any of the features that they offer on their gloves. I wish that brands would kind of use this more. The old Schmeichel kind of look, Roosh had long enough to do it, so you know, I kind of don't have any problems with F-line implementing it. But the materials using are just quality. This thumb material, I suppose, it's kind of a neoprene. I think it's neoprene anyway. It's absolutely excellent. The fit is quality on them. The latex on the palm then, oh sorry about my thumb. The latex on the palm, it was okay. It was only okay. I didn't really trust it totally. I kind of found in the wet that it was pretty average, you know, but on the website it does give you the option of creating your own SMU. I think you can make 10 pairs for £250. So a £25 glove isn't too bad. In fairness, you pick your own colours, own latexes. That is something I'll potentially consider for next season, because I really, really love the glove. So yeah, that's an option. But maybe it was just me. I only wore them in 2 games and I wasn't actually blown away by them. So I don't know, it's up to yourself really what you think of them. I've heard a lot of other people are very impressed with them, but not so much myself, unfortunately. But the glove itself, if I could make my own SMU with a different latex, even a contact or graphite, anything, these would be absolute 10 out of 10. I'd never stop buying them if I could make my own colours and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much all of them. That's everything I have to offer today. We'll be getting more gloves sooner rather than later. I know, as I'm sure you're aware, I'll be getting a couple of pairs of Nikes in the next few days. Might do a review of them too. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.